Damn, my hair's getting thinner than a used up set of Mickey Thompsons. Holy crap. What's up, everybody? Got some big news today. Just got done cutting grass again, like the 18th time this week, it seems like, because here in Indiana, all it's done is rain and grow grass. So it's like a never ending battle. I did some thinking while I was cutting today, and I finally decided I'm going to go ahead with something I've been wanting to do for quite a while. There's 1.5 billion podcasts on the planet already, and I didn't want to do just another podcast because everybody and their mom's got one. And I thought I'd like to somehow do a podcast that can maybe help people in some way. And I just really couldn't come up with a good idea, and it finally hit me while I was out mowing grass today. I love hot rod stuff, and I love working on cars. And cars, to me, are therapeutic. As frustrating as they can be at times. But it's still, when I'm in the garage and I'm turning wrenches or I'm running a welder, it's an escape. It's an escape from everyday life and struggles and trauma and BS that everybody goes through. So if you're a guy, this is going to be more up your alley. Ladies, if you're watching this, you may get something out of it. You may not. But if you're a guy and you ride motorcycles or you've driven a Jeep, especially, you're familiar with the term death wobble. And a death wobble defined is a high-speed instability in the steering that can cause erratic movement and a lot of times catastrophic crash, especially on a motorcycle. And I've been trying to think of a way to do a podcast that would reach guys specifically, and we can talk about welding all day. We can talk about painting. We can talk about, camshafts and intake duration and all that kind of stuff. Everybody and their mom already has one of those podcasts. What I want to do is I want to talk about what nobody else is talking about, and that's mental health, especially men's mental health. And I have a lot of background on this. Those of you that know me well know some of the stuff I've been through in the past, and we'll delve into that in a couple different episodes. But I want to talk about how, as men, especially, I'm a Gen Xer, and especially our generation and the ones before us especially, we were raised that if you don't like something, or something hurts your feelings, or something makes you sad, or whatever, you just deal with it. You put it away, you compartmentalize it, and you just go on. You just suck it up. You tough it out. And I thought, we lose 22 veterans a day to suicide, and that's scary. And as a veteran, as a disabled veteran, I know a lot about what that kind of trauma is like. And I think that there needs to be an open forum about it. We need to start a conversation, quite frankly, because guys are taught, not to talk about stuff, not to engage in a conversation, that doesn't revolve around sports or, something competitive, whatever. And it's causing a lot of men to be unhappy or worse. They turn to alcohol, they turn to drugs, they turn to, a lot of different things to try and calm that demon in their head. And best case scenario, you can function and get through life and nobody knows the difference. Worst case scenario, we read about you in the obituaries. And that is something that's hit me personally. And I don't ever want to see anybody go through that because it's horrible. So I'm going to start a podcast, and we're going to call it the Mental Health Death Wobble, because as guys, we go through life, full tilt, hair on fire. We're competitive. We got to get the good job. We got to make the most money. We got to have the biggest toys, the fancy house, the trophy wife, all that stuff. But at what price? What price is that worth? What is our sanity? What's left of it after all that? And a lot of guys are just a hollow shell by the time they've accomplished all this. So we need to talk about it. We need to unpack, is the term everybody uses. We need to unpack all this crap. So this is going to be unfiltered. It's going to be raw. It's going to be controversial. We're going to talk about a lot of subjects that are just, they're some people are going to get offended and they're going to leave and they're never going to listen to anything I say again or unfollow me on YouTube. And that's fine. This isn't meant for everybody. It's meant for people that will get something out of it. And I think as you go through the episodes, we're going to do at least one a week. I may even do two. We're going to try and start a conversation. And I'm going to start a Facebook group, and I'll link it in the first podcast so we can go have a discussion. It'll be a community board that you can join and you can post, you can rant, you can whatever. So that's going to be the purpose of this. We're still going to talk about car stuff, because a lot of my audience is, rat rod, hot rod, drag race kind of people. So that part of it will stay, but I really want to get into the nuts and bolts of, we need to start talking about men specifically, mental health. So that's going to be the primary focus of the podcast, and I hope you guys stick around for it. We're going to launch it probably this Friday will be the first podcast, and then we're going to try, like I said, and do at least one a week. So I hope you guys tune in for it. We're not going to make them too overly long and over dramatic. This isn't a pity me podcast. This isn't a I'm the victim. If anything, it's going to be, here's what I have done. These are my personal experiences and how I've gotten through things. And hopefully somebody can get some kind of use out of it. Somebody, hopefully somewhere, sees one episode and says, he's right. Maybe I do need to start opening up. Maybe I do need to talk to somebody. Maybe I do need to visit, what's going on in my head and just quit trying to push it out of the way. So that's going to be the focus of this. And we're still going to do the regular videos. We're still going to do the regular, YouTube updates, building the hot rods and doing that kind of stuff. So that's not going to go away. But I want to do this in addition to the regular videos on the Merc channel. This is going to be its own playlist. Excuse me. And we'll get the first one up, and then we'll just take off from there, and we're just going to see where this goes. There's not going to be really a script. I'm going to have a main topic for each episode, and we'll work on that topic, and then maybe it'll veer off. Who knows? But anyway, that's what we're going to start this Friday. We're going to start a new podcast, and again, it's just going to be called the Mental Health Death Wobble, because a lot of guys know that when you're going 100 mile an hour and everything seems like it's going right, and you're just, blazing along with your hair on fire, and all of a sudden you get a wobble, something happens in life, and next thing you know, you're out of control and you're busting your ass, either financially, emotionally, or or worse. So we need to see what's causing this death wobble, and we need to fix it. So anyway, I'm gonna get off here for now. I gotta go get a shower. I'm just gross from mowing grass. It's hot, muggy. Summer's here finally, yay! So anyway, I'm gonna get this posted, and we'll see you guys Friday. We'll probably do some rat rod build stuff in the meantime between now and then. So we'll see you guys soon. Have a good week, everybody.